I'm Bambi Francisco with Vader News. Well, while 500 million people are on social networks, billions of people are on portable devices like mobile phones. And one company hoping to be the provider of advertising solutions to major media distributing their shows on these portable devices is Volo Media. Joining me to talk about Volo Media is the CEO, Brian Steele. Brian, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Bambi. Great to be here. So
your company helps major media companies make money off of podcasts. I saw that on your website. So at one point, podcasts were really popular, but then they've gone through some sort of makeover. You saw PodShow is now Mevio, and there was PodTech, and PodSync kind of went away. And it strikes me that it strikes me that maybe podcasts aren't getting the same viewership that they were supposed to, but you probably have a lot more information than me, of course.
I don't want to start off by contradicting you, but although a lot of the companies in the space have evolved, and the space has grown tremendously. So last year alone, industry estimates suggest that there were over 10 billion podcast downloads. And video is a rapidly growing portion of that. So a lot of the video that consumers are discovering online, they want to now take offline and consume in a time-shiftable or place-shiftable manner and take advantage of higher quality viewing alternatives than waiting for things to buffer online or watch them in a small window, all the things that we're used to. So podcasting has actually been exploding. We've seen publishers in our network with 2, 3, and 4 times growth in just the same shows last year that have all contributed to this 10 billion podcast number in 2008.
And compare that to how many streams were last year. Is there a way to compare that, how big, the viewership is for podcasts versus
Well, it's very different because you remember when people are online, they tend to be in a random sort of browsing, grazing mode. And when people are consuming a podcast, you're subscribing to a show that you already know, that you like, and that you're now wanting to download and watch on your PC, on your iPod, on your iPhone. And so it's a very different set of metrics, which is one of the reasons why Volo Media came into being, is recognizing that in order for major publishers to integrate these online and offline worlds, to take what's really an asynchronous world of downloadable media and bring the same sort of consumption level metrics that are being demanded by both publishers and advertisers online, it was going to take a special sort of integrated technology, and that's what we do.
So when you work with major media, you basically take their product and you distribute it across your distribution network? Is that it?
Well, actually, that's the great thing about our models. We're not actually in the distribution game. We're not
distribution partners.
Well,
maybe.
Actually, the companies, they distribute their own media.
Oh, okay.
So we are providing advertising and reporting solutions. And what that means is that you're still getting your MSNBC, Meet the Press, Nightly News of Brian Williams. You're still getting that from wherever you're getting that, from their website, from iTunes Store, etc. But what we're doing is we're inserting the ads and tracking the consumption of those ads.
I see.
And we're also, for many of our publishers, aggregating and selling advertising inventory. Because a lot of them, even the major ones, don't have enough to respond effectively to the advertising RFPs that are out there. So if you want to respond to a $200,000 RFP, you've got to have a lot of content. And so we help by aggregating content in verticals. News and information, gaming, things like that.
Well, it's interesting you say that they don't have enough inventory, but from what I see, there's a flood of inventory out there for
online.
More, but online. Not as much on the podcast. So you're saying there's demand for more podcast inventory.
Yeah, so a typical publisher in our network might have several million downloads a month of their shows. And when you do the math on the advertising, the CPMs, the insertion rates, for an individual publisher, that's not going to be necessarily enough to compete effectively for an RFP from an ad agency who's looking to spend $100,000, $200,000 with portable media. So we can help them by aggregating that content with similar content from other major publishers.
And how do you price that? Is it similar to just it's a CPM, basically?
Yeah, it's a CPM-driven business, and so if we're selling inventory on behalf of the publishers, that's CPM-based sales to the agencies and the marketers that they represent. If we're inserting ads that they sell, that's also a CPM-based insertion fee. So either way, actually, the business works out the same for us at the end of the day. And so we're actually agnostic as to who's selling the ads.
And where do you see ad rates? How have they been going for you?
They've actually been incredibly static. In fact, I ask our ad team every week, I say, are you sure? I mean, we can't sell more ads if we drop the price a little bit? And they say, we're not actually getting any pushback at all. And in part, you see, downloadable media is very different. Because you're subscribing to the content that you already know and like, you have a much more personal relationship to that content. And so your level of engagement is much higher. So when you do the research and you look at the unaided brand awareness, it's about 68% in downloadable media versus 21% for online and only 10% for television. So it's a much more effective medium for brand advertisers to be in. So when we have this rare inventory and you've got an effective use of it, you can command high CPM. So our average CPM is about $30.
Wow, that's incredible. Last question. You were brought into the company a year ago or so?
Yeah, about a year and a half ago now.
Okay, to take the company to the next level. What is that?
What is the next level?
Yes.
Well, the next level was really scaling. I mean, so I arrived and there was some, like most things, version 1.0 technology across the board. So over the last year, we've been building version 2.0 to really allow the company to scale. So in the beginning, a lot of companies are some version of a science fair project. You want to see if it works. You want to see if people will consume the product. But then when you start meeting with success, it's like, uh-oh, now we've got to go scale.
Are you doing some fundraising too?
We've actually done all the fundraising we need for now. So we're all set, you know, knock on wood. So the focus is on execution. It is heads down, signing up publishers, selling ad inventory, and
scaling the business.
And scaling the business.
Okay, we wish you the best of luck, Brian.
Thank you.
I've been speaking with Brian Steele. He's the CEO of Volo Media. I'm Bambi Francisco.